Hey folks, welcome back. Do you ever wake up sometimes and just think, damn it! Yeah, me too. The weight of existence really can get to be too much sometimes. But that's why we have escapism. That's why we have Nintendo. Since day one, Nintendo has been there for me. Whenever I get bummed out, I think about all the amazing experiences that they've given me, like Skyward Sword. Nintendo. Even if you're not a huge fan, you'd have to be a little bit of a dummy to ignore the sheer magnitude of impact that this company has had on gaming as a medium. These days, there tends to be this idea that Nintendo isn't on the level that they used to be on, and yet year after year, they release a groundbreaking title that just kicks the ass of every other big development studio. Splatoon, Smash 4, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Smash Ultimate, Animal Crossing New Horizons. How are you going to sit there and tell me Nintendo isn't what it used to be? On the other hand, one major criticism that a lot of people give Nintendo these days that I wholeheartedly agree with is that they're out of touch with the modern world. They still haven't seemed to fully grasp the concept of online multiplayer. Finding a level in Mario Maker requires you to meticulously type in a 70-digit code. They're really the only video game company that copyright strikes YouTubers for using their games, and their online marketplaces have always been pretty garbage. Now, to be fair, the Wii Shop channel was stupid and had this whole dumbass points system, but it was easy to navigate and had so much to offer. The Virtual Console on the Wii was unreal, man. You could get anything on there. And it made sense. Like, Nintendo had been making games since the dawn of man. Of course people are going to want to play old games. But after the Wii, Nintendo kept the Virtual Console going, sort of. But there was always this idea that they just couldn't be f***ed to put that much effort in. These days with Nintendo Online, which is a monthly service, you get a bunch of free NES and Super Nintendo games. Which of course means that you get 4 good games and then like 40 pieces of garbage that no one cares about. This is of course an issue because Nintendo is basically giving these games away for free, so they struggle to give away lots of good games like Mega Man because, I mean, how does Capcom benefit from that? Despite that though, the Nintendo Switch does have an online marketplace, the Switch eShop. But if there aren't really any Virtual Console games on there, what does it have to offer? Well, it functions like the Xbox and PlayStation, where you can buy digital versions of big AAA game releases, and you can also buy indie games on the eShop. But there is so much more to the eShop than what lies on the surface. There is a dark cloud floating over the eShop. The Switch eShop basically has no limitations as to what's allowed on there. So you know what that means? A lot of porn. And also garbage, unfinished video games. And to say that it's what lies under the surface wouldn't really be accurate. Unlike Steam, on the Switch eShop, you don't really have to search for the garbage. It's pretty shameless about the sheer amount of utter trash that is on the platform. So once again, I'm reprising my role as the garbage man. We're going to look through a bunch of the worst games that the Switch eShop has to offer. And I would be lying if I said that I wasn't excited about it. We're starting off with a bang here, fellas. The first game we're looking at is called Waifu Uncovered. It is exactly what you think it is. Astoundingly enough, despite Nintendo's aggressive dedication to making family-friendly and child-focused games, they are very lax about the amount of, let's say, adult entertainment that you can purchase on the eShop. So yes, this is one of the many porn games that is available to have on your Switch. You can play it in docked mode, if you know what I'm saying. Thankfully for me, it has a censored version, so I don't have to spend 17 hours blurring out a bunch of anime nipples. It's essentially a top-down shoot-'em-up. The plot is that these girls in the background are wearing poisonous clothes, and you have to shoot an onslaught of enemies to reveal the purple shurikens to progressively make them more naked. But it's for their benefit because their clothes are hurting them. I'd be an asshole not to make them naked. For starters, I don't understand why of all things you would choose shurikens as the collectible. Any rational human being would probably think, oh man, there's a deadly weapon careening toward me. I should probably get out of the way of that. When I started playing this, of course I avoided the shurikens. It was only once the game told me to collect them that I did. Maybe if you make it not something fucking stupid, you wouldn't have to explain to me that I'm supposed to collect those. But rant about that aside, this is the game in a nutshell. It's a shoot 'em up where you shoot enemies to reveal purple shurikens, and when you collect the number that's at the top, the girl becomes progressively more naked. It's just the bare minimum. Bare minimum, get it? Pretty good. I'm sorry, you can't avoid jokes like that under these circumstances. It's just the bare minimum when it comes to shoot 'em ups, and also the bare minimum when it comes to I guess you could say erotic video games. Say what you will about Honey Pop, but like at least there's a game there. Obviously you can tell what the main appeal is, but like there's some substance to it. The characters say things, the puzzle game is at least somewhat thought out to a certain extent. This is literally just a game where you play as a PNG of a spaceship, shooting at GIFs with at the most 4 frames, while a giant anime girl in the background goes from fully clothed to naked. And apparently it's, you know, for her own benefit. She's got toxic clothes on. You gotta help her. Have a heart, man. She looks fine to me, I don't know. And you know what the real kicker is? The absolute most naked that these girls get is topless. Even in uncensored mode, no full frontal nudity allowed. It's still censored downstairs. And look, I'm not trying to say that I want to see that, and you know, leave all the comments you want, but you're charging people money for this game. How are you gonna position the girl like this and not give away what you're hinting at here? They're not even real people. It's not like you have to pay extra to find models who are willing to be naked. Also, this game is full of memes, and not even recent memes, really old memes. Like really, really old memes. I'm talking like rage faces and shit. For God's sake, you're playing as a horsehead guy. Remember those horsehead masks? Pretty funny. What kind of stupid asshole would own one of those? When did this game come out? 2020? Alright, cool, perfect. Overall, just don't pay money for this. If you want to see naked anime girls, free of charge. Next on the list is a spooky game called Apparition, and I'll just let Alan Wake here explain the plot.
I'm a paranormal investigator. My next target is Green Creek. In the 2000s, a murderer named Plague had killed countless people over the years, and until recently, many tourists were considered missing. On top of that, Plague is still on the loose, so it'd be safe to assume it's all his work. Now it's my chance to find out who or what is behind these disappearances.
Spooky. You know, that voice acting is actually pretty good, especially for an indie game. Maybe this game will be decent. Before we start the game, we have to choose a camera to equip. I guess I have to unlock the rest of them, so I'll just stick with this DSLR. Okay, we're in. You should have probably brought a flashlight or put that candle in a holder or something, bro. That's gonna start melting right on your hands. So we got this journal which tells us that we have to take pictures of ghosts and evidence and stuff. So it's like Fatal Frame. It's just like Fatal Frame. Enough f***ing around, let's get to the meat and potatoes here, baby. I walked into this outhouse and found this piece of paper and it said, question added to the list. I've got a list of questions myself. Off we go into the woods. Okay, I guess I'll go the other way. If you walk far enough in this direction, you'll actually die. Like, just why? Why not put an invisible wall, or maybe, like, a fence? You have an asset for a fence in the game. Why not just put it all the way down the road on the one side if you want me to go to the other side of the road? What is the point of this giant forest area with nothing in it? The game doesn't even start you looking in the right direction. You're looking down the road. Why even make it so that I have to guess which side of the road I'm supposed to be on? So anyway, on the correct side of the street, there are some buildings you can look in. There's a little shack here with another piece of paper with a question, a battery, and oh, hell yeah, a rectangle. I guess I don't have the camera equipped? Maybe I did something wrong in the menu before starting? I don't know. This guy really came out here with nothing on him. He's got a candle and that's it. I walked into this house and found nothing of use, really. You can open every drawer in the cupboard and closet, and there's always stuff inside, but you can't pick up any of it. Why not just make everything empty? Wouldn't that almost be spookier, like I'm in an abandoned house? I did find this piece of paper. Can see far, stay low, medium danger, average speed. Wow, they really know how to spook you. I mean, what's scarier than medium danger? Oh, what's that? Do my eyes deceive me? No, they don't. There's a pentagram on the wall. We did it, baby! This is officially a horror game! Eventually, a shadow man killed me, and frankly, I have only myself to fault. I don't know how I didn't see that coming. So I guess the point of this game is to use this Luigi board to talk to the ghost or whatever. You can manually select letters to ask questions, but you're most likely just gonna get no answer. What you're really supposed to do is use the scraps of paper you find with questions on them. But the ghost gives you exclusively useless responses. Are you good or bad? Very. Okay. Are you trying to say it varies? Like you're evil sometimes, but you're good other times? What's your name? No answer. Great. Awesome. Why did you even give me this piece of paper? Where are you? Alright, can do. Moving on. The next game we're looking at is called Wheels of Aurelia. You pick a car and get going. So this is basically a road trip simulator. Well, I guess it would have to entail some kind of like effort to be a simulator. All you do is press B to accelerate the car. You can use the stick to steer, but it doesn't really matter. You can smash into as many cars and street corners as you want. There are no consequences. I guess it's more of a visual novel. You sit and listen to this girl and one of many different passengers talk about nothing. Well, actually, to be fair, the dialogue is quite in-depth. Frankly, perhaps to too much of an extent. You really have to have a strong knowledge of 1970s Italian political history to understand what the characters are talking about. And believe it or not, I'm not super well read on that. While you're driving, little dialogue options will pop up and you can cycle through them to choose what you want to say to your passenger. Or you can just say nothing if you're really enthralled with the gameplay. This game is also really political. I guess the main character is a communist, which is bad if you're living in Italy in the 70s because they're under some sort of regime or something. I don't know. This game could be flat out lying to me. I don't know anything about Italy. You could tell me that there were dragons there in the 70s and I would believe you. You pick up this girl, Olga, at a disco and you and her on your way to France when she tells you that she's pregnant and on her way to get an abortion, and you get to tell her whether or not you think abortion is a good call. You know, it's a fun game. Nothing like a little escapism. This girl sucks, man. Your choices of dialogue essentially boil down to harassing random people you just met about highly contentious political topics, or being an insufferable asshole for no reason. Like seriously, you pick up Hitchhikers and Lola's just like, how about that communism, huh? Pretty good, but please don't tell anybody I said this to you. I'm really on the DL about being communist. I feel like I can trust you though. I did just pick you up off the side of the road. And then there's this guy who's wearing a scarf representing some Italian soccer team and Lela recognizes it. Who've is the Fidanzata d'Italia, everybody's team. Well, not mine. I don't really get football. Then why did you bring it up? Oh, hey, nice shirt.
Oh, are you a Leafs fan?
No, I actually hate hockey and I think you're an idiot for watching it. Oh. Let's change the station. Ch-ch-ch-ch changes, turn and face the strange. Yep. David Bowie. Pretty good. This game also has 16 endings. 16! And they're all different based on what dialogue options you pick or which hitchhikers you pick up. There's one where you're with this guy and he robs a bank, which is fine, no one cares. And then in the ending he leaves and continues doing illegal stuff, and I guess Lela becomes a race car driver. Hell yeah, dude. There's an ending where you and Olga raise her baby together, and then your daughter becomes a race car driver. Hell yeah, dude. There's one where Olga turns you into the fascisto or whatever for being a communist. Like, I mean, this isn't the worst game I've ever played, but it's so boring. I can't imagine going out of your way to get all the endings. If there's one thing I've learned from this game, it's that communism is good. Or bad, maybe. I don't know. It depends on the dialogue options you choose, really. The next game we're playing is called Woodle Trees Adventure Deluxe. The game starts out with this little tree stump guy emerging from the ground so he can talk to the Deku tree. And I'm not even making a joke. This is the Deku tree. Look at it. It's literally the Deku tree. Also, we're in Minecraft. Tree Father tells you that you have to bring water back to the world, and to do that you have to pick up a bunch of fairy tears. And off we go to the first level. Looks kind of familiar, does it not? This game is really going for the high score of ripping off other video games. The Deku Tree, Minecraft, the levels are just straight out of Mario 3D World, but they're also like floating in the sky, so they're like those extra stages from Mario Sunshine. And it's also got a fixed camera angle like Mario 3D World. Oh, sorry, my mistake. I can't say that it ripped off the camera because you can zoom the camera in, and you can zoom it way out. You can play the game like this. You can zoom out so far that stuff in the background starts despawning. I mean, I gotta give them credit for this. This is funny, I like this. They didn't have to include that, but they did. God bless. Anyway, you walk around and you collect these fruit and kill enemies with the Deku Leaf from the Wind Waker, and you have to collect 3 of these green teardrops and bring them to the end of the level. Everything in this game is the bare minimum aesthetically. The entire world is made up of rectangles and spheres with one design pattern on them. The enemies are balls with cones on their head, or a cat shape with long legs, or gray round guy with slightly less gray squares on his head and grumpy eyes. Gotta give him credit for that. I'm a sucker for grumpy eyes. Nothing has any detail to it. You could perfectly replicate this game with Play-Doh. You get no feedback when you hit an enemy. You may as well be swinging at nothing. Also, there's basically no consequences for dying. You just warp back to an earlier part of the stage, still with all your teardrops, all the enemies you killed are still dead, and all the Wumpa fruits you collected are still gone. Some of the water droplets are really out of the way, so it's actually beneficial to just jump into the abyss and kill yourself so that you respawn back on the main part of the level, rather than trying to make your way back. The game is also, pretty much completely silent. There is music, but it's so quiet you can barely hear it. All you can hear are the sounds of the guy jumping and the water droplet noise that every enemy makes when they die. It's so tranquil, it's almost brilliant. It's verging on some sort of modern art piece. This is just bare bones, the most boring 3D platformer imaginable. It's like something a university student would make to learn the basics of a game engine. If you collect enough fruit, you can buy different colored leaves which shoot out a tornado, which is kind of cool, I guess. Oh hey, look at this! A bonus level that costs 500 fruit. Well, I had to earn this. I wonder if it's different from the other levels. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the f***ing same as all the other levels. Well, folks, it's been a lot of fun so far, but we're finally on to our last piece of irredeemable trash. According to Metacritic, this is the worst game currently available on the Switch, digital or physical, with a whopping 17 out of 100 among critics. And even with the barrage of ironic 10 out of 10s, the game still only has a 3.2 out of 10 user score. So, without further preamble, I give you Vroom in the Night Sky. Hello, I am Fairy, Conchin. Nice to meet you. Are you the first time to play this game? Shall I explain the game if necessary? Well, they speak English a lot better than I speak Japanese, so this is Vroom in the Night Sky. It's a video game where you play as a magical girl. You know, like a magical girl anime, like Sailor Moon and stuff. You fly around a bunch of different levels on a motorcycle, collecting these big circles and these Stardust items. I'm floored. I don't even know where to start with this. For one thing, the controller rumbles literally the entire time you are playing this game. No joke, it's on a steady low vibration at all times. So make sure not to play Vroom in the Night Sky for too long or else you'll get fucking hand cramps from the vibration. So anyway, you basically go around a bunch of different giant empty levels with nothing in them and fly through rings. It's a lot more fun than Superman 64, I'll give it that. Once you collect enough of these yellow things, the magical gate opens and you fly into it to end the level. It says in the tutorial that you have to keep an eye on your fuel tank up here. If you get low, you gotta stop at a gas station and get more magical fuel. But from what I can tell, the fuel gauge just stays full at all times. Looking back on it, that's probably what these random helipad things on the ground were supposed to be, but they just didn't finish that part of the game before releasing it. Also, starting in the second level, about a minute in, this other girl shows up. Cutie magical girl, Shining Star. And she just flies around and insults you, and I think sometimes she steals the items you need to finish the level, so you're supposed to attack her with your ranged laser attack or whatever. The whole time you're flying around, your little buddy here is constantly saying things to you in dialogue boxes in the bottom corner. And again, I want to go easy on them. English is a difficult language to wrap your head around when you speak Japanese. But holy shit, the conversations these characters have is easily my favorite thing about this game. Suki is a Luna, Taruko is a Shining Star. I think that's good. I agree, it takes all kinds. I am scared of Nighttown. I understand. Alright, I'm glad that we've got a dialogue going on here. Attention to drowsy riding, okay? No need to worry. Bro, she's an experienced flying motorcycle driver, okay? There's nothing to worry about. What's inside the Tanak? There is some magical gas in the tank. Okay, good to know. It is a lie. This is on another level, man. It's a game where a fucking magical girl, straight out of Madoka Magica, rides around the night sky on a fucking motorcycle. You can't make this shit up, man. I'm not gonna lie, I had fun with this game for the 40 or so minutes I played. I probably would have beaten it, but the last several levels are locked and I don't know how to unlock them. You can pull off special moves and stuff, so maybe if you get a high enough score they'll unlock. But overall, it was probably the most fun game out of the 5. That said though, how does this get put up on a marketplace and sold to people for real money? How low is the threshold for what is allowed to be on the Switch eShop? This game is very clearly not even close to finished, to the point where entire things like running out of gas are just not even in the game. And the controller vibrates the whole time you are playing it. How do you even do that? I'm no programmer, but doesn't it take more effort to make the controller vibrate? Did you accidentally program that in and then just like couldn't find it in the code to take it out? Overall, a solid title. I love flying around a city after a nuclear bomb has wiped out the entire population and listening to the same song in every level. Well, that was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that I spent a collective $52.30 on all that. You know, it's pretty shocking to me the sheer magnitude of garbage that you can find on the Switch eShop. Steam has a lot of garbage too, but to be fair, the majority of the trash games are under $5, and there's an entire community of people on Steam who will tell you if the game is trash. Except for Garfield Kart, of course. The internet is an amazing resource, but unfortunately it enables a lot of unfunny people who think they're funny to be unfunny.